princess had just set up her market stall, a soldier came riding by. He was so drunk that he couldn't control his horse. As he galloped past, wine spilled out all over the place, and he knocked over all the princess's wares, smashing every single pot to pieces. The princess started to cry because she didn't know what to do.
What will become of me now?
She said.
All my wares are broken, and I'll not be able to bring any money into the house. We will starve.
So she ran straight home and told the musician what had happened. "What a silly girl you are," he said. "I told you not to set up your stall in the corner of the market where everybody passes. And you can stop your crying. It's obvious that you're not suited to this sort of work. Anyway, I've already been to the king's palace to ask if they needed a kitchen maid. They've promised to take you on there, and you'll be able to bring plenty of food home." So the princess became a kitchen maid at the king's palace. She helped the cook to do all the dirtiest jobs. She cleaned out the oven and washed all the plates after the king's banquets. All the servants were kind to her, but she wasn't really happy there. Soon her pale, smooth hands looked red, chapped and rough. Oh, how I wish I was back in my own father's palace, living the life of a princess. Perhaps if I'd treated people a bit better, I wouldn't be in this mess, she sighed. She didn't receive any money for her chores, but she was allowed to carry home some of the leftovers from the banquets. It was on these scraps of food that she and her husband lived. She had not been working there long when she heard that the king's eldest son would soon be visiting. "I heard that he's on his way to be married to a beautiful girl," one of the servants whispered to her. Everything at court had been prepared for his visit. The servants had spent days cleaning the palace, so it was spick and span. When the princess saw all the guests arriving at court in their beautiful gowns, it nearly broke her heart, because she was dressed as a simple kitchen maid. She knew that she was far too lowly and humble to be introduced to all the grand guests. After all, she hadn't even seen the king of the palace where she worked. That night, the king's son arrived at court, and all the servants were busy in the kitchen, getting food ready for a grand banquet. When the feasting was over, one of the servants gave the princess a huge platter of leftovers to take home. As the princess maid dashed through the banqueting hall with the platter, she bumped straight into the king's son. "I'm so sorry," she said, not even daring to look at his face. Everybody at court laughed and jeered at her, and she was so upset that she wished the earth would swallow her up. But the king's son was not angry, and he spoke kind words to her. "Don't worry about that mess," he said. "I'd be very happy if you would join me in this dance." She knew she couldn't refuse, but she trembled with fear when she realized who her dancing partner really was. It wasn't a prince at all. It was a king, King Roughbeard. He held her tight and led her in the dance. When the music stopped, she ran to the door, but King Roughbeard chased after her and caught up with her. He took her in his arms and said, "Don't be afraid. I am the musician who lived with you in the cottage. I brought you here because I loved you. You have also seen me dressed as a soldier." "Are you the one who upset my stall and caused me so much trouble?" she said. "Yes, but I have done all this to cure you of your pride and to punish you for the cruel way you treated me. Now that is all over, and you have learnt to be humble and kind. It is time for us to celebrate our marriage feast in grand style. So the trumpeters played a fanfare, and the whole court gathered in their finest clothes. And happiest of all was the princess's father, who was guest of honor at the wedding. "What a wonderful change I've seen in you, my dear," he said. "I hope you'll forgive me and King Roughbeard for playing this trick on you." "Well," said the princess, "you were rather hard on me, but I know now that I deserved it." And as the princess chatted happily to her father, sounds of laughter filled the court, and it was a day of great feasting that was enjoyed by everyone.